so that people who join late can see this, and you can join everybody in the room if you want to, so I can post this video later. There's Emily. Good morning, Emily. I see you changed your icon there. That's nice. You doing okay?
Yes.
Awesome. That's great. We were just chatting a little bit about what we did over the weekend, and it's nice. We only have one more week to get through, guys, and then we have 2 weeks off. No online, no in person. It's going to be great. So let's buckle down and do our work really well, okay? So I didn't post anything new for today. I did from last week. We already had the lesson slides that I'm going to finish up today, and I just wanted to talk with you about these. Let's go back and just review quickly. If you weren't here, I can kind of review these. I don't remember if I recorded Friday's lesson and posted it or not. So this is our lesson on adverbs. How in the world did they do that? Because adverbs tell us how something was done, basically, okay? And we're connecting it to our text from Language Live, which is Gemini, the twins, talking about the space race and how different countries were sort of competing with each other to be the first to accomplish things. And we talked about how constellations, actually a long, long time ago, according to the text that we read, were a solution. People started kind of connecting the dots and imagining pictures in the sky that connected with mythology or people in their culture, and now they could remember the positions of the stars. We reviewed parts of speech, which we've been working on all year. Nouns are person, place, thing, or idea. Verb is going to be an action or being word. An adjective describes a noun or pronoun, and an adverb describes a verb, adjective, or another adverb. How did they do that?
Are you supposed to be presenting your training?
Yes, I am. Gosh, Emily, I'm sorry. I should have been presenting from the beginning. That was so silly. And I'm recording this for our students who aren't able to be here right now, so that makes me sad that I didn't actually show any of the slides. Anyway, they are posted in Google Classroom, and you can go back and look at those slides and watch the video. So when we have a sentence, we need to have a noun, which is usually the noun that's the subject is usually going to be the first one. It could be a pronoun as the subject of a sentence, a verb that tells what happened or what did the subject do. An adverb is usually close to the verb. Could be in front of it or behind it, but it tells how did they do that. And an adjective is not required, but it also adds more details and description. An adverb is also not required to have a complete sentence, but it adds more details. So adverbs can tell us the location or place that something occurred, like there or here, the manner in which it occurred, if somebody did something perfectly or if they did it angrily. And you can basically understand a lot of these if you just take off the ly, but you can see how they changed the spelling there they changed the y in angry to an I first. The degree to which something was done, exactly, mostly, and we're going to look at some more examples in a few minutes, and the time in which something is done. Slowly, quickly, eventually. Frequency means how often. So I know you guys studied waves either this year or last year in science class. Do you remember studying waves and the frequency? Do you know what I'm talking about? Between how often either sound waves or ocean waves, how often they're coming. So that tells you a little bit more about what was being done. That's the quote from the people who, or actually one of the people who was on that first trip to the moon, and Neil Armstrong stepped off the spacecraft first onto the moon. We read Earthly Twins on Friday, right? I remember us reading it about Elvis, and then there were two other twins who worked with horses. Do you guys remember that? We did. We started to talk about the chart. We've got a when, where, and how chart. These are some examples, and then we're going to take a look at page 94 in just a minute, okay? So when could be at night, before school, or on Tuesday. Where? To the store, in the gym, down the street. And how could be slowly, quickly, with little effort. You can see that some of these are prepositional phrases. So, and we're kind of making that connection slowly. Prepositional phrases can act as adverbs. And these are types of adverbs. I already labeled them. I moved the labels over. But you can tell some of these are just regular adjectives like silent, mysterious, unexpected, polite. But then when you add the ly, it describes how they did something. So you could say, the polite girl said, excuse me, right? Or she said, excuse me, politely. See what I mean? Time, showing the passage of time or how quickly something occurred. Rapidly, quickly, and promptly are all synonyms. We're still talking about synonyms too for each other. And then you have slowly and finally. The degree. Degree means like how completely. Exactly, mostly, partly, completely, almost, enough, or fully. Frequency means how often. Seldom, always, never, sometimes, regularly, often, usually, occasionally. It is every once in a while. I've had discussions with my own kids about occasionally, because sometimes they'll use that word in recipes, and or even on the back of the box if you're making some macaroni and cheese or pasta or something. Or a frozen meal that you put in everything in the skillet. It'll say stir occasionally. And I can't remember if they were stirring it way too often or never. But one of my kids was like, what is occasionally? It's kind of hard to say. If you're going to cook a pot of soup for 6 hours, occasionally might be every 20 or 30 minutes. But if it's something that cooks a lot faster, it would be much more frequently. There, here, now, nowhere, somewhere, anywhere, everywhere, in and on. Those are locations or places. Okay? These are just cool things. This is actually from a space template, and these were interesting facts related to space. Now, this diagram, this is just to kind of pop in a little bit of different types of test questions where I can. I created a box over here that has a question mark. It says, which one of the following words, when you put it in the question mark box, would complete this diagram best? Okay. Would it be galaxies, solar systems, planets, or moons? Okay, so the overall category is space. Then you have it divided up. We don't know what that is, but over here, let's look at this first. We have stars. We have the sun, like the one in our Milky Way. The North Star that we can see, it's very bright. And I know there are specific names for other stars, but I don't know what they are, and I didn't think you guys would. 2 other stars, right? So this label, stars, is like a category, and all of these things are stars. So what would go best right here? Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter. What are all of these things?
Planets.
Planets. Excellent. So the best answer for how to complete this diagram would be to put the label planets here. And they actually will have questions like that on reading test sometimes, because that shows that you understand what you're reading on the diagram, right? And this is just kind of for fun. It has nothing to do with the constellation right there. It was considered the 9th planet from the sun, but now it's a dwarf planet. It has several moons. Do you know what it is? It fits in the letter spaces below. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters. What used to be a planet, but is not a planet anymore? It's also a Disney character, by the way. Not Mickey, but do you remember his dog's name? Pluto.
Yeah.
Pluto. So Pluto. I can't type it on there right now. That is actually, and what made it, why did they change it to dwarf planet? What does that mean? They changed how they categorize things. They decided it was too, what? Now they call it a dwarf planet. So what do you think that means? They decided it was too big? Too cold, too hot? What do you think, Joanna? No, dwarf is small. So they decided it was a dwarf planet. It was too small. There's a couple more facts on there and some other things that I want to show you later. Hey, Shania, how are you? I just reviewed and went through some of the things that we had done last week. And now I want you to open up Language Live. And go to your student edition. I put a link in the chat if that helps you. Oh, I was going to tell you another exciting thing that happened this weekend. It was just last night, actually. The Oprah interview of Harry and Meghan. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, well, he's part of the royalty from the United Kingdom, from Great Britain. And Meghan is an American, and she married into that family, but now they're living in Los Angeles because it was kind of gossipy. Did Emily or Shania, did either of you watch Harry and Meghan being interviewed by Oprah? It was so exciting. My 9-year-old daughter watched it with me. She was like, I didn't think this was going to be that good, but it's very interesting. Ooh, it was, there was a lot of stuff that she revealed in there. What'd you say? No? Oh, I don't know why I'm interested in it, because I totally don't believe in having a king or a queen. I don't think that's the best type of government, but I don't know, I'm fascinated with it. It seems so old-fashioned, I guess. We read this paragraph last week, right? And we talked about these. I think we did this whole page. Sorry, I didn't say the page number. Page 94. Can you turn to page 94, please? Is your chart already filled out? Because I'm going to go in, I'm going to look at this today.
No.
Okay, well, let's do it together then. Page 94. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at each of these and basically think about which question they're answering. So adverbs, like we were discussing, can tell us when, so it has to do with time, not just time of the day, like on the clock, but month, year, dates, anything like that. Where, the location, and how something is done, the manner in which something is done. So I already separated out the first three just to give you an example. So for when, in the first box, type at birth. For where, type in Mississippi, Mississippi. I'm going to ask you if you know how to spell that later. And then you need to type in unfortunately. Those were the first three. What about the next one? In 1946, which category does that fit? When, where, or how? Exactly. So type in 1946 in that one. Then you have from that beginning. From that beginning. That's actually a when question as well. From that beginning, because it's still referring back basically to that time period or when something began. Then they start talking about Ken and Carrie Baker, born in Montana. Where would that go? Good. They lived there until their teens. Until their teens. This one's kind of awkward, but it tells you basically what. Said they lived there until their teens. Does that tell you when they did something, where they lived, or how they lived? It basically tells you when, right? Because it's saying until they were in their teens, which is a specific point in time. When they moved to Florida. What does that tell you? When, where, or how? That tells you where. They developed a love for horses in 1988. Come on. It was a good year. I was in elementary school, I think. Yeah. They returned to Montana and became ranchers. Their love of horses continues. Remarkably, meaning people would comment on it. It's notable. What do you think that would be? How? Remarkably. It means like amazingly, interestingly. All right, guys, are you following along with me? Shania, Emily, are you with me? Because I'm going to look at this later and I want to give you a 100. Awesome. Shania, are you following along? Oh, I am? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll let you look at it for a little bit
It's okay.
longer. There's the chart. Get all those typed in. And then when you're ready, let's start looking at page 95. This is our lesson for today. And then we will move on.
Okay, I got him.
Excellent. Good job. And I have to keep in mind that I have people in the room now. You know, last week I didn't even have any 7th graders in the room. So anyway, I got confused about the schedule, but we need to go down at 11:20. Okay. So think about the question words we've studied. Look at the question words poster, which I don't have up, or the chart at the top of the page. The chart is actually what we're going to use. That's very helpful today. I'm going to ask a question. I want you to tell me the question word, then tell me what the answer must include. Okay? So look down that whole left column right here. Who, what, when, where, is, are, do, does, why, and how. Joanna, are you looking at this chart with us? You doing okay? Sorry to interrupt you, but you need to be doing what we're doing. So these are the question words. What if I said, what is the name of the brightest star? What's the question word? What is the name of the brightest star? That was tricky because there's actually 2. but the actual question word is what?
What?
Exactly. And you're going to have to give the action or the name of something, right? How did the ancient Chinese explain constellations? What's the question word? How did the ancient Chinese explain constellations? The question word's usually the first word. Shania, what's the question word?
Who?
No, I know these are hard because I don't have them. These are not the same as the bottom of the page. We're just doing these for
Wait,
practice.
can you say the question again?
How did the ancient Chinese explain constellations? What's the question word? What's the first word of the question?
How?
How? That's the question word, and so we're going to have to explain the way something is done. Shania, are you okay? Are you with us? I need you to answer a question. I need you to participate. Otherwise, I don't know if you're understanding what's going on. Another example would be, are Ursa Minor and Ursa Major seen at the same time of the year? Let's look at the chart. Are they? So that would be a yes or no answer. Yes, they are. Explain it. Who names the stars in the sky? Who is the question, and you'd have to say who does it. Do people still use stars to help them? Do, right here is the question word, yes or no answer plus explanation. Even though you may not have known the answers to those questions, you were able to identify the question word and determine what needed to be included. So when you Google answers, I mean, you still need to know how to be able to phrase your response when you do some research. Let's read the questions and circle the question word in each one on page 95. Then you're not going to answer these questions. Remember, you're not answering these questions. We just want you to recognize different types of questions and how to know what type of information you need to find, okay? So the first one is the sky divided? Tell me the question word, please, or actually you can circle it. It says you can circle. Do you know how to make a circle in your program? Well, you can just write the question word. What's the question word? Is the sky divided?
No.
No. Don't answer the question. What is the question word? What we just did for all of these. These are question words. They're usually the first word of the sentence. John, what's the question word in this one? Can you say it or type it?
Oh, I know.
What?
It is.
That is correct. Is the question word. What information are we going to do? Guys, I hope you can highlight and copy and paste. That's what I'm doing. Highlight that, do Control C, come down here and do Control V, or you can just type it out. The information you need to include is a yes or no answer and an explanation, okay? When can we see Gemini? What's the question word? It's the first word of the sentence. Say it, please, so we can move on. What's the first word right there? When?
When?
Yep. And what information do we need to include? A specific time, date, or event. Why do some people group stars very quickly? What's the question word? Why? What information do we need to include? A reason or explanation. How are constellations named? What's the question word?
How?
Excellent. And If we have how, we need to answer with the way something is done. Where can we see Gemini the twins? What's the question mark? Uh-huh. And the information that's going to give us is a general location, whoops, or specific place. Excellent. Now, I'm going to look at those 2 pages. All you had to do was follow along with me and put these answers in, and you can have a 100. So good for you for coming to class and paying attention. I'm going to leave it up there for a couple more minutes. And what I need for you to do, we're going to continue talking about those later on this week. We are going to work on iReady. I put in grades for iReady. I hope that everybody has checked your Power School. I had some people who got 100s and I had some people who got 0s. Okay? I'm not really understanding that. Please know that nothing is going to change if you are not happy with the way something is. I can understand it may not be the most fun thing to look at that program and to answer questions on it. But sometimes in life, you got to do what you got to do, okay? You're not always going to love everything that you have to do for a school assignment or a job. You're not always going to love it. Sometimes you just have to do it. You get a 100 if you just stay engaged with the program for 60 minutes, okay? If you don't, you get something less than that. Some people got 0s because they didn't even go in the program for any minutes at all. Now, there was a diagnostic that we did back in January. And I know I told you guys I would give you some credit for some minutes for like the first week or 2, you know, after you were supposed to have done that. That can't keep going on and on and on. In fact, I think it canceled out some of you from your diagnostic because you were taking so long to finish it. It should have been about an hour. Okay? So now you need to be working in Language Live. You've got 20 minutes. Go. Not Language Live, I mean iReady.
Yeah, iReady.
Mm-hmm. Quickly, let's see who gets the most minutes done during class. Log in. Some people have already started working this week. Emily, you've already got 14 minutes in. That's awesome. Jonathan's already got 39 minutes in. Yes?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
I had like working early this morning.
Are you giving me an excuse?
I said this morning my homeroom teacher let me work in already reading.
Okay. Your homeroom teacher's supposed to let you do that every single day.
Yeah.
All right, work. Oops, I wasn't saying it out loud. I'm gonna let you go now to eat your lunch, Emily, wherever or whenever you want to. You can keep working on I Ready though while you're eating. I just wanted to point that out. And you don't have to come back after lunch at 12, but you do need to continue doing I Ready. Okay? So when I check later today, you should have at least 20, 25 minutes done. Okay?
Okay.
Oh, I turned off the TV.
Sure you want to exit
Sorry.
the
Say that again, Emily.
Oh no, I ain't saying nothing.
Oh, sorry. All right.
I
Bye.
got 27 minutes.
Right. But we have 15 more minutes out of class after lunch. So I'm telling you, for those 15 minutes, you need to work in I Ready. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Time to go.